He was just a tiny, scared puppy when no one believed in him. But one man saw something special. Today, he would race on the international stage and change everything. This is the story of courage, love, and an unbreakable bond. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town, a small, scruffy puppy wandered the streets alone. His fur was matted, his paws were sore, and he had a look of fear in his eyes that only someone who had been abandoned could carry. Life had been unkind to him so far, but fate had a different plan. One chilly evening, as the sun was setting and casting golden shadows across the streets, a man named David noticed the tiny pup shivering by a fence. David had a kind heart and a special love for animals. He knelt down, extended his hand slowly, and whispered gently, "Hey little guy, it's okay. You're safe now." The puppy hesitated at first. His tiny body trembled as he sniffed David's hand, unsure if this human was trustworthy. But something in David's calm voice and warm eyes told him he could trust this man. That moment marked the beginning of a bond that would change both their lives forever. David carried the pup home. He gave him a warm bath, soft blankets, and a plate of food. The puppy, who had known nothing but loneliness, slowly began to relax. David named him Rocket, because even in that first meeting, Rocket had an energy, a spark that David couldn't ignore. From that day forward, David began to train Rocket. But not just ordinary training. David had once been a champion in dog racing, and he recognized potential in Rocket that few could see. "You've got speed, boy, but more importantly, you've got heart," David said as he guided Rocket through his first training sessions. Rocket learned quickly. He was small, but agile. His paws moved faster than most dogs much bigger than him. Every morning, David and Rocket ran together in the cool dawn, racing through fields and along winding trails. With every step, Rocket grew stronger, faster, and more confident. Months turned into years, and Rocket transformed from a timid, abandoned pup into a sleek, muscular dog ready for the world stage. David entered him into local races, then regional competitions. Rocket's speed and determination amazed everyone who watched. But it wasn't just speed that made Rocket special, it was his heart. He ran with passion, with courage, and with love for the man who had saved him. And then came the day of the International Championship. The stadium was enormous, filled with roaring fans, flashing cameras, and the scent of competition. Rocket's competitors were bigger, faster, and more experienced. But as David knelt beside him and whispered, "Remember, boy, I'm right here. Just run your heart out." Rocket's eyes seemed to shine with understanding. The race began. Rocket shot out of the starting line like a lightning bolt. He darted past other dogs, weaving through obstacles, every muscle burning with effort. The crowd cheered wildly, but then, in a heartbreaking moment, Rocket stumbled. One of his paws twisted painfully, and he fell behind. David's heart sank. He covered his face with his hands as he watched other dogs surge past Rocket. Tears welled up in his eyes. He thought the dream was over. "No, don't give up, Rocket, fight," he shouted. Rocket looked up. He saw David's face, glistening with tears and love. Something inside him sparked. His pain became fuel. He pushed through the agony, his paws pounding, his heart racing, not just for victory, but for the bond that had saved him, nurtured him, and believed in him when no one else did. One by one, he overtook the other dogs. The crowd went silent in disbelief as Rocket surged ahead. He ran faster than ever, driven not by pride, but by love and determination. The finish line came into view, and with a final burst of energy, Rocket crossed it first. He had done it. Against all odds, the tiny abandoned pup had become an international champion. David ran onto the track, tears streaming down his face, and hugged Rocket tightly. "You did it, boy. You did it," he cried. Rocket licked his face, tail wagging furiously, as if to say, "We did it together." That day, Rocket became more than a champion. He became a symbol of hope, courage, and the power of unconditional love. And as the crowd erupted in cheers, David whispered again, "You were always my hero, Rocket. Always." After Rocket's first local victories, David knew that his little pup was destined for something far bigger than the quiet streets where he had been found. But greatness never comes easy. Every day was a new challenge. Long training sessions, strict diets, and tests that pushed Rocket to his limits. David treated Rocket not just as a competitor, but as family. He would wake before sunrise, tying Rocket's leash as the world was still asleep. They would run along winding trails, leap over obstacles, and practice racing techniques that only seasoned champions mastered. The puppy who once trembled at the touch of a human now barked with excitement at every start line, eyes shining with determination. Yet it wasn't all smooth. Rocket had moments of doubt. He would stumble, tire quickly, or refuse to follow commands. Each time, David's voice was gentle but firm. "It's okay, Rocket. We'll get through this together. You're stronger than you think." And with those words, Rocket would rise, more determined than ever. They began entering regional competitions. Each race was tougher, with dogs that had been trained for years, with pedigrees and reputations far greater than Rocket's. Yet, time and again, Rocket shocked the crowd. Not because he was the biggest, fastest, or strongest, but because he ran with heart. During one particularly grueling race, a sudden rainstorm soaked the track. Other dogs slipped and faltered, but Rocket, driven by sheer willpower, kept moving. David watched, his chest tight with pride and anxiety. "Come on, boy. You can do this," he whispered. The crowd began to notice the tiny dark dog that moved like a shadow, determined and unstoppable. Word spread quickly. Local news outlets began calling him the Miracle Pup. International trainers started talking about him. And David, who had once been just a simple man saving a stray dog, now found himself preparing Rocket for the ultimate challenge, the International Dog Racing Championship. The International Stadium was nothing like David or Rocket had ever seen. Bright lights, massive crowds, and the roar of thousands of fans created a pulse that made even seasoned champions nervous. Rocket, however, remained calm. He sniffed the air, ears perked, as if sensing the importance of this moment. David crouched beside him, stroking his sleek fur. "Remember everything we've worked for, boy. Don't let the fear of the others scare you. Run with your heart, and you'll shine." The competition was fierce. Dogs from all over the world, trained by experts, were ready to win. The announcer shouted, and the crowd went wild as the starting gate opened. Rocket launched forward like a rocket, every muscle burning, every heartbeat synchronized with the rhythm of the race. But then disaster struck. Halfway through the track, Rocket twisted his leg on an uneven patch. Pain shot through him, and the other dogs surged ahead. David's heart stopped. "No, Rocket, don't give up," he shouted, tears welling in his eyes. He could see other dogs leaving his beloved companion behind. Rocket slowed, limping slightly. For a moment, it seemed like the dream was over. But then, in the distance, he saw David. His eyes, filled with unwavering love and hope, reminded Rocket why he had started this journey. Rocket felt a spark ignite within him. It wasn't just a race anymore. It was about loyalty, love, and the bond that had saved him from the streets. With a growl of determination, Rocket pushed forward. Step by painful step, he overtook the others. One by one, the bigger, faster dogs could not match the heart and courage of this tiny champion. The stadium erupted in disbelief as Rocket closed in on the finish line. His leg throbbed, his lungs burned, but nothing could stop him now. He could feel David's heartbeat in the stands, guiding him, encouraging him. The final stretch was a blur. The crowd rose to their feet, shouting and gasping as Rocket surged ahead. And then, with one final leap, he crossed the finish line. First place. The Miracle Pup had done it. David ran onto the track, tears streaming down his face. He scooped Rocket into his arms, holding him tight. "You did it, boy. You did it. I'm so proud of you." Rocket licked his face, tail wagging, as if to say, "We did it together, always." That day, Rocket became more than just a champion. He became a symbol of hope, courage, and the power of love. The dog who had once been abandoned, scared, and alone had now conquered the world stage. News cameras captured the moment. Fans cheered, not just for the victory, but for the story behind it. David and Rocket had shown the world that love and perseverance can overcome any obstacle. As they stood together on the podium, David whispered in Rocket's ear, "You've always been my hero, little buddy. Never forget that." Rocket rested his head on David's shoulder, exhausted but proud. The bond they shared was unbreakable, a reminder that sometimes the smallest beings can achieve the greatest victories. Rocket's story spread across the globe. Children wrote letters. Other dog owners shared their stories. and fans celebrated the tiny hero with a big heart. And David? He realized that saving Rocket had not just changed the life of a little dog. It had changed his own life forever. Sometimes, all it takes is love, belief, and determination. And as Rocket curled up at David's feet that night, tired but happy, both of them knew that together, they could face anything the world threw their way.